We have loads of two-star pitchers to talk about up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Friday, May 17th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White. And let's get into our Week 9 preview. Starter sit these fringe two-star pitchers. And first up, Michael King at the Reds and home against the Yankees.
Yes, I would rather not start Michael King. I don't know why I started that sentence with yes. Probably should have started it with no. I think you could justify it in a points league where the threshold for success is much lower and a bad start isn't going to ruin you as much. But the issue is there are just so many useful two-start pitchers this week, more than I can ever remember in all my years of doing this. And so I think Michael King is going to be a pretty low priority start for most people, even in points leagues.
Marcus Stroman is home against the Mariners and at the Padres.
One good matchup, one bad. I think he has a pretty high floor, but also a low ceiling. A fine option for two starts, Marcus Stroman, but again, not a high priority. And only for a points league, I should point out.
Mitchell Parker is home against the Twins and home against the Mariners.
Pretty good matchups there. He's like a 5-inning pitcher, though, without great strikeout upside. So in deeper leagues, Mitchell Parker might be worth looking into, but he doesn't meet the standard for 12-teamers this week.
Ryan Weathers is coming off his best start of the season, or one of them, and he is facing the Brewers and at the D-backs.
Yeah, in some weeks I might be able to get behind Ryan Weathers with those matchups, but not this week. Just too many better options.
There are lots of options. 9 of your 10 sleeper pitchers for Week 9 are two-star pitchers. Who are they?
Well, before I go over them, I also want to point out John Gray and Javier Assad are two-star pitchers, but they're right at 80% rostership in CBS leagues, so they just missed the cutoff, John Gray and Javier Assad. Otherwise, I'd be recommending them here. But even over them, I would have Reese Olson, who remains way too available, probably just because he's winless so far, but he should be 4-0 rather than 0-4 with the way that he's pitched. He's at Kansas City and versus Toronto this week. Blue Jays actually second to last in runs scored, so that's a really good matchup. Eric Fetty also gets the Blue Jays, and then Baltimore for his second start. So one good matchup, one bad, but Fetty's been steady lately. Didn't even mean to do that rhyme. Taj Bradley gets the Red Sox and the Royals. Not the best matchups, but I think Bradley's good. He's pitched well so far. Brian Wu, same thing, still building up the innings, gets the Yankees the first time out, but then he gets the Nationals the second time out. So I think that should counterbalance that for Wu. Michael Wacha, 2 good starts in a row versus the Tigers at the Rays. Good matchups there. I think in points leagues, Wacha's a good choice. Clark Schmidt coming off an 8-inning gem. Gets the Mariners, which is good. The Padres, which is bad. I'd leave Schmidt for points leagues, but he's trending up overall. Reed Detmers has been hit hard lately, but in points leagues, I think the upside for a 2-start week still makes him worth it. Gets the Astros and Guardians. Gavin Stone's fine for a points league. Diamondbacks and Reds. Casey Mize gets the Royals and Blue Jays, just like his teammate Reese Olson. And then the 1-star pitcher I'm recommending here is John Means at the White Sox. I'd rather that be in Baltimore, but the White Sox, terrible offense, of course, and especially against lefties. They've got like a 550 OPS as a team. So Means should fare well.
Let's slide over to the hitters and the best matchups for next week. The Mariners, Phillies, Padres, Astros, and A's. The worst hitter matchups, Nationals, Rangers, Yankees, Pirates, and Cardinals. Scott, who are your favorite sleeper hitters for Week 9?
Yeah, not a bad week for sleeper hitters either. My favorite is JD Martinez, who's available in 40% of CBS sports leagues. He's coming around, obviously was a stud last year, and the Mets matchups are pretty good. Back of the Guardians rotation and a couple shaky pitchers from the Giants. Max Kepler, still available enough to mention here. He's obviously been performing very well of late. Matchups are decent. I don't think you're going to do much better than him off the waiver wire in leagues where Kepler is available. Like Wilyer, Abreu a lot this year. The Red Sox have favorable matchups. Get the Brewers pitching staff for 3 games. Only one lefty on the schedule is the key there for Abreu. Andy Pajes, He's been dropped in enough leagues that he's available now. He's facing some homer-prone pitchers this week in the Diamondbacks and Reds rotations. It's been cold lately, but I think he could pick it back up, and it's worth looking into. I'm also banking on this being the week Zach Geloff comes around. Recently returned from the IL. The Athletics have the 5th best matchups, as you pointed out, Frank. Ty France is who I'm recommending from the Mariners, who have the most favorable matchups of all. If Mitch Garver was healthy, I'd like him too, with 3 lefties on the schedule, but he's not. I'm not confident he'll be available for next week. So let's just stick with Ty France. Couple Rockies here. They face Oakland for their first 3 games and then return to Colorado for their last 3. Tough matchups for that Colorado series, but even so, Brenton Doyle and Ezekiel Tovar, their numbers are so good at home. And with those good road matchups too, I like their chances of delivering some power and speed this week. Abraham Toro of the Athletics has been great out of the leadoff spot, hitting for average. And finally, Davis Schneider, with the Blue Jays being one of the few teams playing 7 games this week. He's playing close to every day now, and the matchups are not terrible. I like Schneider. I think this could be a breakout week for him.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.